Hello, and welcome to It's Not That Bad.
I don't know, let's
Optimistic
look up
book reviews
famous
for
exiting
optimistic
quotes.
people.
It's a
do
Minisode!
that Just gonna
We
steal.
can also just do it until next time, guys.
It's the
Famous
Minisode!
exit.
Oh, and that's Simone LaRue.
And that's Chad Eckwick. Exit stage.
And it's the first of potentially
Play
many
it.
a Minisode.
Hopefully.
Exit quotes.
So, tell us,
Brainy
Simone,
quote.
what is the purpose of this Minisode?
So, we often enjoy talking about books as like our sidebars or whatever.
Oh, this is a nice
on
one,
the
especially
main
for us in
podcast.
this week.
And this is a place for us to do
Uh,
it just a bit
no,
more.
it's disappeared.
Spend a bit more time
Fuck.
on it, so it's not a sidebar you guys have to sit through in a main episode.
Oh,
But
here it is.
unlike
You
the
enter
main
strong and you
podcast,
exit
we're not going to
strong,
talk about
and you're
books
going
that
to
did
be
badly
okay.
critically. I cannot spend my
That's
time
nice.
watching
nice
bad
is that?
movies and
Chris
listening
Farley.
or reading bad books. Yeah, let's
no,
lead with
that
that.
is
Let's
that
do
is
it.
how one
Alright.
ends up in a
So,
sane
Yeah.
asylum.
So
Unlike
we're just
the main
gonna review
podcast,
books
we're gonna
that we're
leave
both
you with
reading
a lovely
and
quote.
be happy about it.
And this week
tell
it's
them what
from
we're doing
Chris
this week, Chad.
Farley.
We
So
are going to
everyone,
be doing
just
Pet
remember,
Cemetery
you
in
enter
light
strong
of the fact
and you
that
exit
the
strong,
new
and
film
you're
comes
going
out on
to
the
be
5th of
okay.
April,
Yes.
so by the time this episode comes out,
Bye.
that film will already be out. We thought we would just hit up some Pet Cemetery,
Yeah.
go over the book for you guys, and, eventually when we go see the film, we can just spend a little bit of time as well just comparing the two and whatever. Maybe. Or maybe not. Who knows
Who
what's going to
knows?
happen. But yeah, so we're going to be doing Stephen King's Pet Cemetery
Yes.
today. How very exciting. So, shall we do what we sort of alluded to in the last episode of the
Yes.
podcast, of the main podcast, and let's pair the author with the alcohol, shall
Okay,
we?
so Stephen King, it feels a bit rude to pair him with an alcohol given his constant issues with alcoholism throughout
Yeah.
the 80s and 90s. But also, I don't want to exclude him. And I think he'd
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So I think we can give him two versions for this.
Okay.
I think we could do a safe Coca-Cola.
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely a Coke guy. I'm sorry. That's not intentional,
Oh,
but hilarious.
that was quick, harsh.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Wow. He's just sitting there. Stephen King's just sitting there like, okay, that
Steven,
was,
I'm so sorry.
was uncalled for.
Okay, but alcoholic beverage, I'm kind of wanting to make a specifically Pet Cemetery one, because I feel
Ooh,
like,
okay.
his books are different flavors,
Mhm.
right? You've got a wholesome Rhode Island iced tea for the Green Mile.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. It's got to be a sweet tea-based beverage
Oh,
for
definitely.
the Green Mile.
Definitely, yeah.
So for Pet Cemetery, I mean, half the movie is them drinking beers on a porch, but
Mhm.
we need more than that.
We do, because it's
Yeah.
so much more than them just drinking beers on a porch. So what would be your base alcohol?
Okay, I'm thinking, like, it's still beer, but like a beer shandy. So, like a beer and lemonade. Yeah, something like that. So it's beer, but
Ooh.
it's also got like a bit of sweetness to it, because kids are involved.
Okay, I like it, but then you've got to have like a hint of something dark or foreboding to come. So maybe just a small drop of Tabasco or something,
Ooh, yeah, that's a
just
good
to make
idea.
it a little bit fiery
Yeah,
underneath.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, and then we could call it the Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm.
I would drink that.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
delicious and spicy.
There you go. Ooh, I like
Mm.
it. So, shall we give a really quick rundown of the plot, just in
Yes.
case people haven't seen it? Read it rather.
Okay, do you want to talk us through it real quick?
Yeah. Let me just go through it from what I remember. I haven't.
Spoilers!
Oh yes, of course. Spoilers, guys. If you haven't read it or haven't seen it, the film adaptation, boo-hoo.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is a family move to Maine. The dad is a doctor, and he has two beautiful children and an equally beautiful wife. Their house is on the edge of a main road where big old trucks come by every now and again. When they move in, they find this delightful little pet cemetery. Cemetery is spelt very wrong. It's Semetry. And the next door neighbor says that this had a power, that the old Native Americans who used to live there had like a magical burial ground type of feeling towards it, and that something evil lived out in the forest there. Unfortunately, one day the family cat dies, and the daughter who owns the cat is really, really sad about it. the next door neighbor then takes the dad to go and bury the cat up in the separate, like, sort of back area of the pet cemetery. And hey, lo and behold, the next day the cat comes back to life.
Damn.
But there's something a little bit odd about the cat. He's a bit lazy, he acts a bit drunk, he starts killing mice and birds and things and bringing them inside. Really, really creepy, kind of half-dead cat. Then some other stuff happens later in the book, unfortunately, and this is the big spoiler, the youngest son dies. He gets hit by a truck as it passes by.
He gets super hit by a truck.
He gets taken out.
Fuck out.
So basically then the doctor dad is like, maybe I should bury him in the pet cemetery, and he basically does. And the boy comes back, and unfortunately he turns sort of evil, like a demon type of thing, and he kills basically everyone else.
Yeah.
In the final moments of the book, the father decides to bury the wife, and she comes back to life, and the final lines of the book is basically the wife coming back, holding the husband from behind and being like, I've missed you, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Hello, dear, or something.
Yeah, and then the book ends. Dun, dun, dun. It is amazing. It is a great ending to a book.
Wild. I really appreciated that I downloaded the audiobook for it, because the version that I found is like from like the 80s or 90s. Ooh, okay. So it has this voice actor with a very resounding voice.
Lovely.
And he talks like this. And it just adds like a next level of gravitas to it.
That's so really lovely. Good. I think there's always a good voice actor for Stephen King books. Like, when I listened to Salem's Lot, like, it was like a proper deep, gristly Southern American man who did the voice, and I was like, yes, this is power.
Voice actors are key. And also, there was a sneaky Salem's Lot reference in Pet Sematary.
There was.
Where Rachel's driving back to Maine, and she passes by Jerusalem's lot.
Yeah, and then she's like, should I go in? Nah, we'll leave it. I like the fact that it is hinted in a lot of Stephen King books. It's hinted that it's all in the same universe.
Yeah.
Like, it's mentioned in Misery. Shawshank Redemption is mentioned in Misery, and I think also The Shining is mentioned in Misery as well, I think.
Wasn't Cujo mentioned in the beginning of Pet Sematary as well? He talks about a dog.
Yeah.
That went crazy and killed a bunch of people. But even in Stephen King's son's book, Joe Hill, which I'm reading now, it's amazing, Nosferatu.
Yeah.
They mention Shawshank.
Oh, do they? Okay.
They mention Pennywise Circus.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
In an alternate dimension. I don't want to give too much away. So, like, it's kind of cool that his son is also, like, expanding the King universe a bit.
That's awesome.
It's, like, I really just appreciate that. Like, it's just a subtle hint and a nod. Like, I don't think he's building up to, like, Avengers Endgame-esque finale.
That would be amazing.
Like, it's fun. Oh my god.
Just Cujo versus the cat from Pet Sematary versus the Wendigo. Like, just a fucking nightmare. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it is such a special thing because it's just little hints and mentions. And I mean, even in it itself, it mentions the multi-universe factor from the Gunslinger books. And how it's all tied together and everything. And I think that's really, really special. You know, it just beautifully weaves the story.
It's just nice. I really appreciate the thought.
It's a good little detail. So, I know we always say this about Stephen King books, is that he knows how to write females really, really well.
Yeah. I think also, like, he always writes... I think there's a tendency with a lot of authors, like, if your protagonist is a dude, to really write off the wife. And I don't think Stephen King's wife would fucking let him. Hi, Tabitha King. We love you.
Absolute champion.
And I think, like, he just knows what it's like to have, like, a healthy relationship with an intelligent, like, interesting woman. Yeah. And it shows in a lot of his books.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's just beautiful to look at because I think that's what makes him such a good horror writer as well. Yeah. Like, it's not predictable. He doesn't have characters that would do stupid things like you do in a lot of horror films. Yeah. You know, they're all realistic people who do realistic things. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it really special. It's because none of them are, like, going upstairs and not switching on the light. Or,
exactly. I mean, and that's what's genuinely scary. Like, it's easy to watch, like, a shitty horror movie and think, like, well, I'd survive that because I wouldn't do all that dumb shit. But, like, what's genuinely scary is if, like, a character does all the right things and it screws them over.
Yeah, which is always what happens in a Stephen King book, and you end up feeling
in this, let's be honest, Lewis is a bit of a tit. Like, I know he's, like, technically under a curse, and, like, you know, greater powers or greater forces than him are at play, but, like, at the end of the day, he's kind of a tit.
I mean, I agree with you on the second bit when he buries his wife. I kind of agree with you there after seeing what the son did. No, I think he was right to do that.
I'm sorry. He's been living with the creepiest fucking cat in the world. And he's like, I think I could handle if my son were this creepy. No, you couldn't. What are you saying?
No, but it's your son. You have to. It's your son.
Like, I get it. Like, it's grief. Sure.
What if Maximus, God forbid, what if Maximus or
Magnus?
Oliver... Sorry, what if Magnus or Oliver were to unfortunately perish?
Well, not if they were going to come back like that. Like, it actually was very distressing reading about how everybody treated Church when he came back from the dead. Because, you know, nobody wanted him to sit on their lap.
No.
Everybody, like, kind of kicked him away. And my heart, like, I was like, that's still a really horrible way to treat a cat. Like, I know it wasn't normal and it didn't necessarily need the affection or whatever, but, like... Cats need love.
Cats do need love, even dead cats.
Yeah, and honestly, sometimes dead is better.
Yeah, that is clear here. So yeah, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. What I loved, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but what gave him the inspiration for this book was they moved back to Maine, or they were in Boston or something. And the King family moved into a house very much like the house depicted in this book, and it was alongside a road that lots of trucks came through. And at the time, Joe Hills was super young and about the same age as Gage was in the book. I think it was Joe. And he started running towards the road when a truck came past, and Stephen got him just in time. And he was just like, what if I wrote a book about this? Which I think is so lovely.
It's that's such an author reaction to things. Like, most people are like, that was almost the worst day of my life. I never want to think about it again. And Stephen's like, but what if his shoes were abandoned 30 yards down the road? Like,
so good. And that's what makes him an amazing writer. Is the most traumatic event in our lives gives him one of the best novels ever.
He's like, but I guess it's also a coping thing.
Yeah, that's also true, I guess. That bit in the book where Gage does it, like, it's like the fake memory thing, where Gage doesn't die and he goes on to be like a swimmer or something. Like, that broke my heart.
That fucked me up. Because I was like, oh my god, did not? Like, I feel like they went through a lot of plot development for that to have never happened.
Yeah.
But...
It was so beautiful. It was so well done.
Yeah. And, I don't know, like, Rachel's character, like, all of her issues with her sister and stuff, like, that was a whole layer that he didn't need to add, but it was just, like, so perfect for the story. Yeah,
the Oz Great and Terrible was so creepy.
So creepy. And then it explains, like, her relationship with her parents and, like, all of that.
Oh,
it's
man.
So good.
That funeral scene where he knocks the casket over. Jesus.
Yeah.
So real.
Heavy.
Oh.
That's also the thing. Like, I think it's a good balance of, you know, like, genuinely, like, creepy stuff. And then also just, like, everyday horrors. Like, having someone close to you die very slowly, like your sister. Or, like, having a father-in-law that's still a fucking asshole to you at the funeral home. Like, those are all distressing emotions that happen every day.
Yeah, no, it's very true, and it's just very realistic, and it molds the realistic with the sci-fi and the supernatural, and it makes it really beautiful. Is there anything that you didn't like about this book?
I mean, besides the decisions Lewis made, which I guess was the point. Like, I guess the whole point was, like, he kind of thinks that he's a little smarter than everyone else, and, like, he knows a bit better. I'm trying to think of something that I really didn't like. No, I liked it all.
It was all perfect.
It was just, I think he's a good writer, and I think he works with very good editors who are good at being like, this is what you need to include, this is what, like, can kind of go. And yeah, it's just a good, cohesive piece of work. And you? I
don't know. The Wendigo at the end.
Yeah.
When it comes out the forest, I think it kind of, there's always... and not in every single book of Stephen King's, but every now and again, he'll just put in a little thing that's just really incongruent with everything else.
This is so fucking extra.
Like, there's no need for it.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the Wendigo in this one was it. I think in it's where they all have sex with each other down in the sewers. Like,
oh, do you
I
think
understand.
that seems a little unnecessary?
Just Paquito extra. Paquito. You know, I understand it. I understand it in the theme of the whole book, and I understand that it was the power and growing up, but no. Can we just not, you know? Okay? So yeah, it would be the Wendigo in this one.
Okay, yeah,
for me.
it was.
I thought,
I get the sense that like the story was based on that legend, and then it just sort of spun out into this whole other thing. But he wanted to keep like the core original inspiration in, but it honestly could have done without.
Even just as like a mythical creature, it doesn't actually need to show itself. It can just, be smoke or something.
Yeah.
But, it's such a minor detail. Even in the whole thing, it is such a minor detail that it's not such a big detail that it makes it a bad book. It was just like a tiny little detail that I was just like, So I'm assuming you've seen the trailer for the film coming up soon.
I sure have. The casting looks perfect.
Unbelievable
I'm so
casting.
excited. Did I miss it, or did I look wrong? But it looks like Ellie dies in this one.
That's what I was thinking too. Because that's what the trailer hints at.
Yeah.
Because she comes back and she's wearing the bunny mask and everything. Which confused me at first. Because I watched that trailer and then I read the book.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, something's going on here. And then it also looks like Ellie dies quite early on in the book. Early on in the film.
Yeah, which I get. Like, a lot of the stuff at the beginning of the film is just sort of laying the foundation and, building up the creepiness. So I can kind of get if it ends a bit earlier But it seems, I don't know, based on the trailer, it seems kind of like more of a spin-off.
Yeah.
Or like an alternate version of events.
Yeah, sort of like a based on Pet Sematary thing.
Which, I guess he's open to. There's already been a more accurate version of Pet Sematary. Like, there's no point recreating the exact same plot. And maybe, I think as an author, it's kind of fun to be able to explore different storylines and see where they could have gone. As we know, Stephen King is not good at endings, usually. Although Pet Sematary was a good ending. So maybe he was like, you know what, I just want to see what you guys do with it.
It's true, and I think that's what's really nice about him as well, is that he allows people to do what they feel with the work. Sometimes with disastrous consequences, like how he feels about the Shining film is quite amusing in itself. But
I think
also
probably Kubrick rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah, and kind of rightly so. He does seem, in hindsight, like a bit of an arsehole.
A bit.
Just tad.
But I mean, there's also the ending of The Mist, which he says he wished he'd written.
Yeah.
Because the end of The Mist in the movie is so haunting.
Oh really? I haven't seen it.
Do yourself a fucking favor. It is intense.
Ah, that's so... Okay, cool. So I think that's great that he's just so free with his work. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like American Gods with Neil Gaiman, where it's very different, but I think... I remember watching an interview with him or something where he said, like, there were a bunch of characters he wished he'd had more time to go into and explore, so in that way, maybe it's nice to look at a different storyline and let people change up the plot a bit. Yeah,
I would love to know what J.R. Martin thinks of Game of Thrones now. Unless he just doesn't care because he's made so much fucking money.
Also, like, maybe then he should fucking finish the next book already.
Yeah, it's getting a bit exhausting. Like I don't remember what happened at the end of the arc.
They've been promising it for the last couple of years.
It's like, what else is he doing? What else does he have to do? Come on, dude. So, yeah, I mean, final thoughts on this book? I think it's really worthwhile reading if you're a horror fan, and it does make you terrified of ever having children. Yeah. if you weren't just by the thought of, having children in itself. But at the same time, it's weirdly a really good picture of, like, what a healthy marriage and relationship and family looks like. Yeah, I think I would definitely recommend this to anyone starting out to like read horror and things. Yeah, because it's one of his shorter books, and it is just brilliant. I would say probably The Shining, then this, then Green Mile. Oh, Green Mile is hardly horror even. No, but it's fucking horrifically heartbreaking. Oh my god, I still like cry when I think about the movie. Ah, it's so beautiful. Could they have cast anyone better than Tom Hanks? I don't think so. No, definitely not. Every single person was perfectly cast in that film. Yeah. It's one of the best Stephen King films, in my opinion. Oof. Yeah, I agree, though. Like, didn't he help? I think he helped write the script. Oh, did he? For it. I'm not sure, though. I don't want to... But yeah, what a life that gentleman has had. Old Mr. King.
Mr. King. He writes every single day, and that is something we should both learn from.
Yes, as he says on writing, he says he writes about 5,000 words a day. We should aim, as beginner writers, to write at least, what did he say, 3,000, I think it was?
He said, build up, but, it should be at least 1,000 and build up to 3,000.
3,000 is exhausting. I get to the end of 1,000 and I'm like, Jesus. We'll get there one day.
Yeah,
This is why we do this.
Watch this space.
Yeah. That's his, his other big message is let go of adjectives.
Adverbs.
Sorry, adverbs.
Yes, the road to hell is paved with adverbs, I believe.
And I don't disagree.
You and I are both really guilty of loving adverbs.
I try to avoid them, but I know I can't.
I just love them. They're delicious. Nowadays, I just, fucking write, and then I click Control F, and I put an LY, and I just spot all my adverbs and take them out.
Yeah, sadly.
Sometimes you have to write them in because the mood struck you, and then you go back and you edit and edit and edit.
Look, you're allowed one or two.
Yeah.
Just don't get hooked on them.
Yeah, don't lean on them.
Don't do it, you guys. Well, there you have it, you guys. That is the Minisode.
Yes, let us know what you think.
Tell us your thoughts. Tell us what you thought of Pet Sematary. Tell us what you thought of the movie when it comes out. We're excited to go see it. I'm definitely going to go see it. And what book shall we review for next time?
You know my suggestion already. Nosferatu.
And I 100% agree with you. I think we should do it.
Yeah.
Nosferatu by Joe Hill. We're going to keep on going with the King family.
And I don't want to compare him too much to his dad, because I don't want to do him a disservice.
No, we'll keep Stephen King out of the conversation. Yeah. Or we'll try to, at least.
But I think he's a great author in his own right, apart from his dad. And we'll get into it next time. Guys, if you have a book that you think we should be reviewing, let us know. Email us at itsnotthatbadpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Or just write it to us on our Instagram or Twitter page or Facebook. So that's It's Not That Bad Podcast, or It's Not That Bad Podcast 1. And, they just tell us. As you can tell, we don't care if it's a new book or a very old book like this one.
Clearly. I think this book's almost, 30, 40 years old?
It's gotta be old. It's gotta be that kind of
old. It's early 1980s,
yeah.
So
there you go. We don't care. We're reviewing it for the fun, So there you go. And, what, should we have a different exit this on the minis?
Yeah, what should we say?
Eat, pray, love yourself.
Oh, no, I hate it. Especially, I'm doing 2 of those things. We love books, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That makes me angry. I don't know, let's look up famous exiting quotes. Let's do that quickly.
We can also just do it until next time, guys.
Famous exiting quotes.
Exit stage left, pursued by a bear.
Exit quotes. Brainy quote.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a nice one, especially for us in this week. No, it's disappeared. Fuck. Oh, here it is. And this week it's from Chris Farley. So everyone, just remember, you enter strong and you exit strong, and you're going to be okay. Goodbye.
Bye.